What's up, people? Another episode of Just for Sport. Jumoke Davis here with you. It's 7-Eleven Free Slurpee Day. I got my Slurpee. Enjoyed it. Sometimes I've gone to like 3 7-Elevens to get a freebie. It's a special day. One of my favorite days of the year. But also, I enjoy doing this show. We're going to get into Major League Baseball. The Nats firing Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez. We got the draft coming up. All-Star Game coming up. We'll talk some Wimbledon. Got some NBA talk. Summer leagues here. I was excited to see Cooper Flagg yesterday, but playing for Dallas instead of the Washington Wizards. We'll talk about that. FIFA Club World Cup. Chelsea's in the final. I'll talk about that as well. A gambling scandal and some gambling news I want to get into. Yeah, we'll end it on my review of the movie Formula One, which I thoroughly enjoyed. All right, we're going to start with Major League Baseball. And I was shocked by the news that the Washington Nationals fired general manager Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez. Not because I don't understand the disappointment that comes with how the season ended. Or, not ended, but is going and will probably end in not a good way. They had a little bit of a uptick about a month ago, and they've since fallen on hard times. Davey Martinez, in a rare example in my mind of really, to me, he was a player's coach. And the comment he made was like, look, I'm not the one on the field playing the game. To me, was very much out of character for Davey Martinez. Very much so. But I was still surprised that the Nationals fired both of them. Because I am, in many ways, will probably never know what was the impetus for firing. Why they were fired. Was it really about this season or something long-term that was stewing between ownership and the front office and the coaching staff? Was it the loyalty? I heard that there was talk of Mike Rizzo being kind of old school and not really believing in analytics the same way. But in many ways, and I feel like in some ways I was unfair to Nico Harrison with the Dallas Mavericks, looking back on it. Because the first thing I thought of when I came to the Nats is ownership's got to take some blame of this too. You can't just say, oh, it was Mike Rizzo's failure. Davey Martinez couldn't motivate the players on the field. And the reason why I feel like in this case, ownership really has to take more ownership of what happened is because ownership cut the payroll after the World Series in 2019. I don't think that this is the right time with the draft coming up and the Nationals having the number one pick to not have Mike Rizzo making that decision. Last 2 times they had the number one pick, you got Steven Strasburg and you got Bryce Harper. I mean, that's check. Nothing wrong with either one of those picks. But when you think about how the Nationals, the ownership, let the team tank, I decided to pull up my old t-shirt, World Series champs. And I was surprised on the back of it when it has the roster. The one player not on here, and I'm kind of okay with that, is Bryce Harper. Now, the ownership group, yes, the learners. This isn't real estate, man. You got to invest in this team, and it's a constant thing. And I don't know how they are with real estate. Are you bad landlords where you just let your buildings, office buildings, apartments, whatever you have, just go to waste? And just, yeah, it is what it is, because that's how I feel like the team is right now. Yes, you got some picks for Juan Soto, and that's turned into C.J. Abrams and James Wood playing the All-Star game. Good, but I'm only going to say good. Because when I look at this roster, and there's one name on here that I'm really like, man, I mean, okay, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg. The main name I see is Juan Soto. This team could be quite different if you had kept Juan Soto. Why give up on a winner in Juan Soto and a chance to build a dynasty? If you think about, they still have Max Scherzer. If they still had Bryce Harper, if they still had Juan Soto, who knows how many other free agents would have come here? Maybe Carter Keyboom would be better. Just looking at the roster. Maybe Victor Robles would be better. On the pitching staff, Patrick Corbin? I know Steven Strasburg got hurt. But the bottom line is Fetty Wap. Wow. I remember Fetty Wap. What a team. I'm thankful for that World Series in 2019. It was a joy to be at Nat Stadium when they won the World Series. It really was. But it hurt. Well, it really was like a joy to see them beat Houston. But it hurt the way they dismantled the team. And I can't imagine Mike Rizzo wanted to do that. I can't imagine Davey Martinez was like, oh yeah, just get rid of all the superstars. Who, by the way, if nothing else, we know two of them that are playing well. Juan Soto, Bryce Harper. You had those two in the lineup. Who knows where this team could be? That's all I'm saying. I'm okay with Mike Rizzo not really buying into analytics, because what analytics can't teach you is the dynamics of a team. All it can give you is stats. This player does well when he plays in the 7th inning when there's a man on and a left-handed hitter coming up. Right? That's what it gives you. He's past 100 pitches. Get him out of the game. Even if it's at 4.5 innings. That's analytics. It's a computer. Can't account for here. Can't really account for here. And Mike Rizzo, outside the fact that we always complained about the bullpen, I think he deserved more runway, or at least not to be done like this. Let his contract run out. Same for Davey Martinez. And they go on their way and you go on your way. Not to fire him like this a week or two before the draft. Because what? You didn't want him to pick a top player? And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, well, actually, now he can win again? Maybe. Maybe if they get this, the LSU lefty, Cade Anderson, or Ethan Holiday, Jackson Holiday's brother, Matt Holiday's son. Could you imagine? You got one Holiday in Baltimore, another Holiday in Washington. That would be great. That would be awesome. Nice little shortstop. They had the number 1 pick. This could be the change for the Nats. It could be. Very much so. And so that's what disappoints me the most about what the Nats did. It just shouldn't have happened that way. Now, staying with the draft, we look at the Washington Nationals. They're already making a trade to try to get, the Baltimore Orioles. Are they going to be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? They got the number 19 pick. Who knows what they're going to do? My thing that I want to focus on is I would prefer that them not be sellers. Don't give up on this team after a half a season, which, by the way, They're 8 games under 500 at the time I'm recording this podcast, right? They're what, 22-14 since they fired Brandon Hyde, which I didn't like either. But they are turning it around. Don't become sellers and dismantle the Orioles. You never know. Maybe they turn it around. That would be exciting to see if all of a sudden, you win 2 games, lose 1. You win 3 games, lose 1. You win 4 games, lose 2. And they're just chipping away. And then all of a sudden you get to September and October and they're right in the mix for the wild card. Why not? Why give up on this team now? I don't quite understand how baseball even can do that from one season to the next. It's like, oh, yeah, we were in the playoffs last year. I'll now sell everything midway through the next season and start over? Orioles are 7-3 in their last 10. 1-2 in a row, 42-50. Why not? Why not give it a shot? That's my thing. Let's not give up on them already. And I love the fact that the Orioles beat the Mets. I don't want the Mets to do... granted, I know that was my pick. And so, yeah, there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, I kind of gotta still think that that's going to happen. It's possible. There's no doubt that it's possible. But we got the draft coming up. I want the Nats to get Ethan Holiday. I don't want, as the trade deadline is coming up, not long after the draft, I don't want the Orioles to be sellers. And I am excited about the All-Star Game in Atlanta. We'll see what happens. We'll get into that at another time. I don't know. I'm kind of excited about the All-Star Game. I'm like half watch it. I don't really fully watch it. But in the home run derby, I want to see the big sluggers. We got Ronald Acuna. We got the big dumper, Kyle Raleigh. I wish I had got him as a catcher, man, in my fantasy draft. James Wood from the Nationals, 24 home runs so far. Byron Buxton, could have drafted him too. O'Neal Cruz from the Pirates. I mean, I wish that they would do a game where it's like, get that radar gun out and see how fast these players can throw the ball. O'Neal Cruz will win that. He would definitely win that. I think he threw a pitch that was like ridiculous, like 104 miles an hour, and his home runs are reaching an exit velocity of 122 miles per hour. Junior Caminero, my sleeper to win it. He was at plus 900 last time I checked. Look for Junior Caminero to come out of nowhere. Brent Rooker, Jazz Chisholm Jr., That's one of those things where now I'm like, can we please get the stars to come out? Can we get Shohei Ohtani again? I don't want this to all of a sudden start to be like the slam dunk contest where you're like grabbing at straws to get people. I just don't hope that happens. But it might. It might. It might. What I know is more than a might is at Wimbledon, we will have a new champion on the women's side. That's 9 straight champions. That 9 different champions in a row on the women's side. Am I shocked? A little bit. Mostly because when I think of Wimbledon, excuse me. when I think of the tournament in general, back, I'm going to say 10 years ago, you always knew Serena was in it. There was a good chance that Serena was going to be the champ or be in the running. She was dominating. And now you don't quite get that the same way. It's hit or miss. Sabalenka may be the number one player in the world, and she's been to 4 straight major finals. Or excuse me, she was trying to get to her 4th straight and lost to Anisimova, who's an American, which, yay, USA. I thought the USA representative was going to be Coco Gauff, and she went out early. I think in reality, she went out early because, as she said, she was exhausted from having won the French Open. Now, look, I'm not getting into excuses or whatever, but, you know, there was some who said, yeah, she probably should have just focused on going right to grass, and instead of coming to New York and then, you know, getting all on the talk show circuit and doing all these appearances and going to this award and this ball and the Met Gala or whatever other stuff she went to. But since 2016, when Serena Williams went back-to-back, and even then in 2018, 2017, Venus was in the finals and lost. Then Serena was in the finals and lost. And Serena was in the finals and lost. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Because you got to count Serena in 2016. 8 different champions since 2016. Serena was the last one to win it back-to-back. She won it back-to-back earlier in 2010 and 2019. There just isn't the dominance that we used to have. There isn't. And Sabalenka ain't it. She may not ever be it. And I bet Serena's like, good. Because I want to be at the top for a long time. And something in Sabalenka, if and when she does win, it will probably mean a lot to her. But right now, she might be number 1 in the world, but she's beatable. Remember Serena? Like, no, she wasn't really beatable. You might get one by her, but she wasn't beatable. She won 24 Grand Slam titles. Now, on the men's side, Novak Djokovic has won 24 Grand Slam titles. And he lost to Jannik Sinner today to reach the finals again. I want him to stay at 24. I'm sure he would love to win one more and say, I'm the best there ever was. At least on the men's side, he can say that. Federer, Nadal can't say they got 24. So Djokovic has that. But I don't think he will win another major. At the French Open, the media was wondering, is this going to be it for you at a French Open? No, I'm going to keep playing. Now Wimbledon, he lost. The media packed the press room. Hey, is this it? Is this your last Wimbledon? No, I'm going to come back. But the guy who I expect to win it, Carlos Alcaraz, can he be the next Djokovic? Or Federer? Or Rafa? I don't know. He's won the last 2 Wimbledons in a row. Before that, Djokovic won 4 in a row, which is amazing. And he beat Novak Djokovic in both of the last 2 finals either. But I just don't want to see it. And maybe realistically, we may not see it. I think that it might actually be a time to wrap it up for him. Now, what I want to see in the FIFA Club World Cup is this team, Chelsea, hoisting the trophy. I will be rooting hard for Chelsea, the Blues this weekend. But man, woo. PSG, what they did to Real Madrid with Mbappe on the team, man, that was a drumming. And I am excited to see the final. I kind of wish I was there. Probably could have bought tickets a long time ago for a little cheaper. The thing that I'm happy at least I got to see them, right? Saw Chelsea against LAFC. I say I went to the FIFA Club World Cup. I could have went in New Jersey. Could have went to Philly. I saw tickets as low as $10 for both of them, but just the timing didn't work out. I was on vacation. That's why I haven't done a pod in a bit. But I'm back, and I'm excited. The problem is there's all of these reports it's going to be too hot. Maybe they're going to have to take breaks in the middle of the game. That's the part that I'm bummed out about. But especially with World Cup coming there next year. But I'm excited. They're going to be playing in New Jersey. I probably could drive there on Sunday if I really wanted to, but I got some family stuff going on. It would be fun, though. It would be fun. But I'm not going to be able to make it, unfortunately. I hope it's going to be a good final. Playing in MetLife Stadium. You know what? I didn't even check to see what we got for tickets here. Slashing the ticket prices because they're trying to fill up the stadium. I mean, the 3 p.m. game, it's going to be really hot. I mean, shoot, maybe they need to decide to just move the game a little later. Tickets are like $230 in the top seats. Maybe they need to move it till later. It's quite possible. But PSG is just they're just really, really good. I hate to even say they're too good because I don't want to say that Chelsea doesn't have a chance. Chelsea will just have to play their best game ever. Shut down Dembele. It's going to be a tough one. It will. But I'm excited to see what Chelsea will do. It is going to be I'm going to be watching at my family's house, trying my best to focus on family, but still be able to watch the Blues. Still be able to watch the Blues. Staying with soccer, U.S. lost in the CONCACAF final to Mexico 2-1. And I really felt for Christian Pulisic because I think he was in a no-win situation. If the only way he could win, I shouldn't say no-win situation because if USA had won and he was on the team, then he wins. But the fact that they lost in the final, you had some fans on social media, oh man, we needed Christian Pulisic there. Other fans saying, hey, you should have been playing for your country. Even though he's like, look, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I need a break. I have always felt that because that window is so short for athletes in their career mostly, you got to soak it up. You got to just go out and play. Because when your career is over, then you can rest. And so as I watched the match, all I kept thinking about is like, man, Pulisic should be there. Former Chelsea man. He should not have bowed out. Because in many ways, you may never get that time again. So why allow for yourself to be scrutinized like that? To say, oh, you don't care about your country. You don't care enough about soccer here in America. That's the one thing that really saddened me. Because it was in some ways a no-brainer. I got to play. I'll get rest some other time. I think there is something where FIFA, UEFA, MLS, Premier League, all of the leagues need to come together and figure this out. There's no doubt about that. Because you shouldn't feel like I can't play for my country. I'm exhausted. You should not be in that situation. And that was tough, the way that they lost to Mexico, because that's all I kept thinking about is, man, Pulisic should have been there. He should have. All right. I should have been at Summer League. I would have enjoyed to sit there watching Cooper Flagg play in his first game. I remember it took me back to when John Wall and Bradley Beal were playing in their first Summer League game. John Wall, #1 overall draft pick, the hype around his first game. And I watched Cooper Flagg do okay. The Mavericks beat the Lakers. My thing was, the hype about Bronny James needs to be tempered. I'm sorry. It's just all hype because of his last name. Cooper Flagg built his legacy by Cooper Flagg. We know where Bronny James's legacy is from, and it ain't from the game of Bronny James. Unfortunately, he's a Nepo player. Not the first, not the last, but the hype was just... I was there to watch Cooper Flagg. I wasn't tuning in because it was Dallas Lakers. I was tuning in for Dallas. It wouldn't matter who they played. It's kind of salty again. Cooper Flagg wasn't wearing a Wizards jersey. But it is what it is. I thought the debut was really solid for him. 10 points. Dallas got the win. It was interesting to see the not so much the ticket prices were out of control. I never thought I'd see a summer league where courtside seats are going for $3,000. I mean, that seemed like a lot to me. But at the same time, I'm like, okay. It was a big game. You want to see the very first game, even if realistically we know that it's just Summer League. It doesn't really mean much. I mean, shoot, that NBA Cup where the stats don't count doesn't mean much either. And that's in the regular season. Makes no sense to me. But the player that I really enjoyed watching, which is kind of funny, was Ryan Nembhard. Because I actually called a few of his games as a high schooler in the D.C. area. That was kind of neat to see him playing on an NBA team now. And there are a few other players that have happened that I've been able to see in this capacity before. And that's a new level for me, having worked for an NBA team, but then to be able to call high school games in the DC area and see those guys, some of them, get to the NBA. And Ryan Nembhard was one of him back in the day. That was neat. And it made me proud because he played well. And his older brother was just playing in the NBA Finals. So, for the Pacers. So that was cool to see his brother there. It's just one of those things that maybe some of you who are watching this, maybe you have some of those connections too. But it was cool to see. It was cool to see. He played for Montverde Academy, and so I was doing a game in the DC area. And it's just fun. Now, the big next thing for me is, how are the Wizards faring? Not just in the draft. I thought they did okay. Not great in my mind. I'm just kind of like, maybe I'm too tough on the Wizards. Maybe because I see all these other teams, including Oklahoma City, who've been up with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden and Serge Ibaka, and down at the bottom, and now they're NBA champions. And the Wizards have been down and middle of the road and down and down. Never quite getting there. That's the part that I'm just like, what's happening here? Marvin Bagley III traded away Jordan Poole. So now you're on another rebuild. Some of my people on tax chat is like, no, this is not another rebuild. They did it on purpose. He was a stopgap. No. If it worked, Jordan Poole would have been, yay, Jordan Poole taking the Wizards to the playoffs. Right? It didn't work. So now to me, they're on their next rebuild. Now, I do like that they brought in some vets. CJ McCollum. Chris Middleton last year. Maybe. The trade for Cam Whitmore, the excitement about, we got Cam Whitmore from the Rockets. Nah, they're just getting rid of players. Because they brought in Kevin Durant and the Rockets. I love that Cam Whitmore is kind of coming home, being from the Baltimore area. I'll give you that. But outside of that, it remains to be seen. Trey Johnson from Texas, a rookie, 19. All right. But how many 6'5", 6'4", guards are we going to get when I look at this roster? Maybe CJ McCollum can teach the young cat something. Same for Malcolm Brogdon if he stays. Chris Middleton, as I mentioned. Marcus Smart. Maybe they're just teaching the young guys how to play. But I'm curious what's going to happen when you've got Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson. Can they play together? That's it for me right there. I want to know how that's going to work. We got a lot of players that have some moving parts, if you will. Jameer Watkins from Florida State was drafted in the 43rd pick in this year's draft. We'll see. If they can somehow turn it around like Oklahoma City, I'm giving them a thumbs up. But that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to do. What I'm also going to give a thumbs up is a Formula One movie. I liked it. I'm sorry. I did like it. I know the actual drivers and maybe some of the managers and the people that run Formula One thought that some things were not realistic. But I know Lewis Hamilton stamped it. He was a producer on the film. I know that Formula One let the the cast and the crew really get immersed in Formula One during last season to make it more realistic. You got to accept that Hollywood is Hollywood. You've got to accept that some things are going to have to be made to factor into Hollywood. That's what it is. I did a story on Kate Gundlach, who works for Arrow McLaren in the IndyCar race. Shout out, hail to Pitt. She is like the technical director for the fake F1 team. She's that in real life for Arrow McLaren. Something like that. I may have it wrong. She may not be the technical director, but I think she's a technical director. But I couldn't help but think about her. I put that on social media. I liked it. I liked the female lead. I liked Brad Pitt. I really did. I like Javier Bardem. I thought that Joseph Kosinski did a great job, as I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. What am I doing? Shout outs? Damson Idris, who I know from Snowfall, right? An English guy playing a hustler, a drug dealer, a kingpin in LA in Snowfall. I thought he did an amazing job. Carrie Condon, who played Kate. I just really liked the film. I love the cameras. I love how immersive you felt in the car during the racing scenes. I love the music. The soundtrack was hot. I even downloaded the full soundtrack, and I feel bad. I gotta give a shout out to whoever did the soundtrack, and I'm forgetting their name. And that's a shame because I'm a big fan. And who did the soundtrack? I can't believe I'm forgetting it. I should have it in my head. Wow, it's embarrassing. But I like Lose My Mind, the song with Don Toliver and Doja Cat, Just Keep Watching, Tate McRae, Underdog, Roddy Ricch. I love the score. Of course I love the score. Hans Zimmer is the best ever. That's who it is. Shout out to Hans Zimmer. I can't believe I forgot that. It's a good movie. You gotta go and see it. You'll love it. Let me know what you think. That'll do it for Just for Sport. I'm going to finish my Slurpee that's probably melted now because I've been letting it sit here and watch I'm doing the podcast. But 7-Eleven, you can't get one today wherever you are. Hopefully you can. That'll do it for Just for Sport. Enjoy your sports weekend. Ciao for now.